Yo, to everybody. First of all, before you skip to the end of the video to see what the tier list, because I know that's what everyone does, I just want to say thank you guys for putting my Zelda guide video up to over 10,000 views. I worked really hard on that video, so the fact that it got as much traction as it did is really cool. So, as promised on Twitter, I said, as thanks for 10,000 viewers, that I would do a tier list video. So this is going to be a 5.0 tier list video. Doesn't really make a difference from 4.0 because there wasn't really any changes. So yeah, you're not going to agree. You're not going to see eye to eye on me with this issue because this isn't going to be a results-based tier list. It's not. I don't like doing those. If you want results-based tier lists, all you have to do is just look at a generated tier list based on results, and you would get the results-based tier list. What I like doing instead is just giving my personal thoughts on the character if I think they're not utilized, sorry, if they're overhyped or underhyped, and why that is. So you might see some characters in some placements that you might think there's no real reason to think that, but it's just because I think the character has untapped potential and that there's just yet to be somebody who's unlocked it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to make this E tier here the unknown tier, because there's three characters that I want to put here that I'm not really too sure about. The first one being Mii Fighter. I have literally never played against or as Mii Fighter ever, and I've never even seen a Mii Fighter on stream, so I can't even pretend to tell you that I know anything about this character. Apparently, he can be pretty good in some circumstances, but that's just anecdotal evidence. I'm not going to make any judgment based on that. The next character is obviously going to be Banjo. If I had to place Banjo, I would place him somewhere within the lower mid tier. He's a character that has decent setups, but pretty much no combos to speak of, other than some high percent down throw up smash combos and stuff like that. But in terms of actual extended combos, it can be pretty difficult to do anything. Even if you try and do something like drag nair, sometimes they land behind you, sometimes they land in front of you. His back air doesn't have that much range. Like, there's a lot of things about him that, from a combos perspective, I think he's really lacking. Which might not mean as much because he can kill you pretty early with that side B, but then of course it's limited. But even though I have a prediction for where he might end up, that doesn't mean that I'm going to place him. So that's just me. Let me just make sure I'm recording real quick. Yeah, we Gucci gang. We Gucci gang. Yes, I use OBS. What you want from me? Okay. So the last character that's going to be here in the unknown is... Where did I man at? God damn. Am I stupid? I might be stupid. There it is. Okay, Ryu. I did place Ken, but I do believe that Ken is much better than Ryu. However, I don't know how much better than Ryu. And it's one of those situations where, kind of like Mii Fighter, most people who would want to play Ryu just opt to play Ken, so I have no idea what kind of gap exists between Ryu and Ken. So I'm just going to rank Ken on his own, and I'll leave however far close Ryu is up to your interpretation. So I'm going to start off on the D tier. I'm going to go from bottom to top, because that's the best way to garner the most interest over time. So I'm going to open it with Little Mac, obviously. Okay, the thing is, Little Mac is an interesting character to rank because I don't view Little Mac as the hardest character to win with in competitive environments, because a character like Little Mac is actually quite prone to getting upsets just because of the kind of character that he is. But it's not how often a character can win that makes them good or bad, it's just how consistently they can apply some of their strengths in matches. And when you're missing half of an entire moveset on purpose, that can hurt you pretty badly. Now, what's supposed to make up for that is the fact that he has KO Punch, but I don't think that this KO Punch is enough to remedy the weaknesses he has, because he doesn't get to choose when he gets it, he doesn't get to keep it for an indefinite amount of time, it's very easy for him to lose it, and it's also very easy for him, it's very difficult for him to combo into it, because he can't even do, like, down tilt neutral B anymore, or if he can, the percentage winners are, like, really tight. He lost some of the combos he did have from Smash 4, like down tilt. It's just a pain. So, and he's not even that much better than most characters are on the ground. We thought that being able to do like running smash attacks and running tilts would help Little Mac, but what that actually ended up doing was putting everyone else's ground game on a similar level. Yeah, you can't be missing half of a moveset and still be a good character. So he's definitely going to be here in a tier of his own for sure. So the next character, the one that I think is the weakest in the game, besides Little Mac, where's she at? Isabelle. Look, I'm sorry, but I do think that Kirby's better than Isabelle, okay? The problem with Isabelle, she had, when the demo came out, we thought that she would be amazing because we saw the Lloyd and then we saw the fishing rod command grab, and we thought that was going to be excellent. But then we found out that the Lloyd can be destroyed really easily and that people could just run past it and without really caring about it being there at all, and that the command grab can be shielded. If the command grab couldn't be shielded, Isabelle would be a much, much better character. But even with something that should be her strength, which is her ledge trapping, ideally you'd think, put the Lloyd there and then fishing rod to trap their get up attack or cover a jump. It's not even that effective, and even though she might be able to hit you more consistently than a villager with Tree on the ledge will, Tree is a much more dangerous ledge threat than Lloyd is. Sorry, that was my phone. So she really struggles, and the Lloyd, it's kind of at odds with the rest of her kit because she still has the slingshots, and it doesn't really make sense for a character that has the slingshots who threatens space on a horizontal plane with those slingshots has a vertical option in with that Lloyd, whereas with Villager he's constantly applying horizontal stage pressure with the Lloyd going left and right, and then the slingshots to cover jumps above or below or whatever. So I think that Villager is a lot more consistent at covering stage control, and that's why he's a much better character. And then he has obviously just way more threatening tools like Bowling Ball and stuff like that, and Tree. But Isabelle really struggles, which is why I think she's down here. Next is actually going to be Kirby. Kirby is kind of a weird character because when he gets in, he's actually pretty good. Like, he's got some decent combos, some grab setups. I've seen Kirby do really funny stuff where like they'll jump high to try and coerce someone to recover low, and then they'll just down B to get to where they are, and then like back at them. It's pretty funny. Kirby's got some stuff. Being able to inhale projectiles means that even though he's slow, he has an answer in some of those more heavy projectile matchups. But Kirby is kind of just threatened to always be spaced out because everyone is just so fast in this game, and most of the good characters in the game, like Lucina, spoilers, Lucina's a top tier. It creates an environment where Kirby doesn't really have the tools he needs to fight against certain opponents. Now, I still think that he's better than Isabelle just because when he does eventually get in, his damage output's a lot greater. He has more potential for getting kills, stuff like that. So I think that Kirby edges her out just barely in this case. And the next character is Incineroar. So Incineroar is like, if you look online, you can actually see that, like even with like revenge, like let's say you revenge a move and then you forward smash, that forward smash actually still is gonna do like way less knockback than something like a Ganondorf F smash. The scaling on it is apparently not that good at all. The hitbox on his up air can be difficult to hit for opponents who are just slightly in front of him. So it's a very narrow sharking tool, which makes it a lot more difficult to use. He's got some cool grab combos, but it's difficult for him to get that grab because he's got, I think, the slowest dash speed and the slowest run speed in the game, except for like Piranha Plant or something like that. It's pretty bad, and Revenge is a really like not crazy Arsene meter because even when Joker isn't using his down B, he's still getting meter towards Arsene. But if you do hit him during that, it's like you can hit him out of Arsene, but it's going to take you a lot more than like, what is it, 20 or 30% to knock Incineroar out of his revenge value. So, revenge value, out of his revenge. So even what's supposed to be his defining feature is very difficult to apply in real time. He can surprise you with some, decent early kills, with up B off stage and stuff like that, like while he's recovering. He's got some decent kill moves. But I think he's definitely the worst heavyweight in the game, just because a lot of it, like usually when you think of a heavy character, you think of someone that hits hard and is slow, right? Incineroar is even slower than that, and he doesn't even hit as hard as some of the other heavies, and the other heavies like Bowser and Ganondorf are actually much faster and actually much more dangerous. So for that reason, Incineroar is going to be here. And the next character, which is going to be the final character in C tier, which for me, I guess this will be low tier and this will be bottom tier. Last character is Bowser Jr. So Bowser Jr. sucks. he's just really bad. He gets stuffed out. It's easy to edge guard him. His one saving grace is that he has some up throw combos, but that's really about it. The character is not that good in most circumstances. Side B isn't really a benefit to him because it's easy to be aggressive in this game, so side B doesn't really serve a function. In Smash 4, approaching could be difficult, so the mix-ups provided by Bowser Jr.'s side B, jumping out of it and, faking out your opponent, that could be really valuable. But that's not really as effective in this game, where people can just avoid you so much more easily. Up throw combos, that's pretty cool, so that's going to put him above where these characters are. So now we're going to move on to the mid tiers. So this will be mid tier, this will be I guess high tier, and this will be top tier. So by the way, expect like way more characters in like 7 to be in top tier, because I view I don't believe it's possible for a character to be like, with so many characters in this game, it's very difficult to imagine that only like 5 characters or 10 characters could be top tier. Like, there has to be more than just that amount. Anyway, but that's enough rambling. Next character. This is the bottom of the mid tier. This is Piranha Plant. If Piranha Plant didn't have Iron Ball, or Spike Ball, whatever you want to call it, he would probably be, like, in bottom tier with Little Mac. Because that move is just so good. It's good as a combo breaker, it's good as a combo tool, it's good as, for ledge planking. Spike Ball really carries his character. People, like, when they talk about Piranha Plant's crazy moves, they usually talk about Poison Cloud. I don't give a shit about Poison Cloud. It is all about the Spike Ball. That move is really good. If you have poor DI and down throw, he can combo off of it with surprising results. You can do, like, down throw into falling up air, Iron Ball into forward air, and do, like, 50%. He's got some decent damage. His down B does a hell of a lot of shield damage. His recovery is really good. Not that difficult to intercept, because it doesn't really have a hitbox above Piranha Plant, but it's still a good recovery distance-wise. And what's unique about Piranha Plant is, despite the fact that he's not that good, he's actually got a decent disadvantage due to his weight, the Spike Ball, like I said before, and the down B. And it's actually a unique trait for a character that's not that good to have a good disadvantage state. Now, I know some people might be tempted to put Piranha Plant higher just because of that one dude in Japan that got second at, like, some event. People need to really understand when a character is doing well because somebody is pioneering them, or it's because the character is just that good. Like, like come on, man. Like, give the player some credit, at least, right? I still don't think Piranha Plant's that good, but whoever got that second place with him, obviously they're amazing. Like, why can't we just call players amazing every once in a while? Like, why is it when someone does well once with a character, we're like, oh, that character must be busted? Like, no, just for once, just be like, that guy was just godlike. He was just godlike, and that's what I think it is. Maybe if he wins more tournaments, I'll change my mind, but he does have a lot of things he suffers with, like generally getting in, getting camped, not being intercepted on his recovery. And confirming kills. Confirming kills is especially a hard one, because he has to put on a lot of damage before up throw can kill, and then he has to get that grab. And other than that, he's gonna have to land that kill throw, or that kill option rather, relatively raw, because he doesn't have any setups or ways to coerce people into putting themselves in bad situations like certain other characters. Like if you're at kill percent against a Pichu or a Pikachu at like 150. Then he can coerce you to shield with the Thunder Jolt and then run up and grab you and up throw you and kill you, right? That's what I mean when I say, like, setups that can coerce you to put yourself in bad positions. Piranha Plant doesn't really have that. So for that reason, he's going to be at the bottom of my mid-tier selection. Next character, let me see what I got here, is King K. Rool. I actually do think that there's a potential for this character to be a lot higher. I just don't think that people who are using K. Rool are using him as well as they could be. his forward air is surprisingly pretty low on lag when you land with it, so I'm actually surprised that I've never seen K. Rool's, use fairs as a landing or spacing option more than they do. But the character's got some, decent throws, some decent kill options, some good projectiles. It's pretty rare to see a heavyweight with projectiles that isn't King Dedede. So I think that there's more that can be explored with K. Rool. But it's another character that I haven't seen in action too much, but there's so much jank you can do with this character that I feel like once he's mastered, he can actually be a lot more threatening. By the way, if you want to know what song's playing in the background, it's the police station thing from Astral Chain, because this shit slaps. Alright, next. Actually, ironically, I spoke of King Dedede. I think he's next. A lot of people are tempted to put this character higher. I don't. When your premier projectile is easily thwarted by just someone doing the auto short hop aerial with like any character in the game, that can be troublesome. Now, obviously, he can reflect it back. He can either suck it up or hit it back by pressing side B again. But the point is that usually if you're going in with, like if you use Gordo, you're going to go in and try and use Gordo as coverage. So it's going to be more difficult to be ready to reflect it or swallow it and spit it back out again, right? So, he's got some stuff though, like his Nair is surprisingly pretty difficult to punish. He's got some big hitboxes like on his up air and stuff like that, which is why he's here. But I think that he struggles all the same in the same ways that he did in Smash 4, which is that he's just a really big dude. Like he's really easy to combo. It can be difficult for him to make it back out of disadvantaged situations. The air dodge changes doesn't really help him that much because he's still really floaty and falls slowly. And that's not a good it's not a good combination to fall slow and be big at the same time, which is a problem that another character has that I'll be going over later. But for now, this is where I think King Dedede should be. Yeah, that's about it. Next, and this is the character that I think I might regret putting here, but I'm gonna put the Samus is here, and specifically Dark Samus is gonna go here in front of her because I do think that Dark Samus is better than Samus simply because it's easier for her to hit shorter characters with things like up smash, and a lot of the best characters in the game are really short. So one second, I got a burp. Sorry about that. Anyway, these characters, I really should put them a little bit higher, but I'm gonna leave them here for now because I already made this tier list. I'm just going through what I've already put down. But I think if I ever make a tier list in the future, I'll end up putting these characters higher. The Samuses are really good. What I like now, obviously they lost their dash attack stuff from Smash 4, but I actually think it's a lot better for them to be using their projectiles to go in. So like even though it's weird to see something like neutral B into grab, it makes a lot more sense thematically for Samus to do something like that because she's meant to be a zoner. So her getting openings off of her zoning tools makes the most sense. It looks weird. It feels like it shouldn't work, but then it works. The problem with Samus is that even though her damage output's pretty good, it can be pretty difficult for her to land a lot of her best options. She can be tricky in the air, but she kind of has the same problem that King Dedede has, which is that she's pretty big and that she's also pretty easy to punish and juggle. But Samus' strengths, they're pretty good. Good zoning tools, good grab, good zair, decent recovery, really good mix-ups on things like, tomahawk grab when people think that you're going to do like a back air or something. The Samuses, they've got some sauce. I just haven't seen crazy usage of her yet. Like the most that I ever see is we've got a Samus player in Ontario named RJ, and RJ is really good, but he was also one of the top Samuses like ever in Smash 4. So it's difficult to know whether or not Samuses in general are that good, or if it's just RJ who is just a specialist and is just really good with the character. But I happen to think that she has more weaknesses than benefits, which is why she's going to be here in mid-tier. Decently happy medium, even though she's on the more bottom side. Next up, we're going to have where I put her there. What the hell? No, I was gonna put Rosalina here, but I'm changing my mind. You know what I'm putting here instead? I'm putting Dr. Mario. Where the hell is Dr. Mario at? There he is. Dr. Mario. So Dr. Mario, ironically, pretty good in certain matchups. He's pretty good against a lot of these smaller characters because he's also decently difficult to hit, but he hits like a truck. He's like a miniature Ganondorf. But the problem with being a miniature Ganondorf is that you also have miniature Ganondorf range. It's difficult to be slow and have lack of range, which is where he really struggles. But it's not as much of an issue when it comes to fighting other small characters who have that same problem like Pichu, which is why he can excel in those matchups. But it's due to how hard that he hits that allows him to be a threat enough to be a mid-tier character. You can get hit like 3 times by Dr. Mario and then like forward smash and you just die. It's really funny. But Dr. Mario, like he just hits hard, but his recovery is really bad. The lack of range and speed is a humongous detriment to the character. If he had like more run speed, if he was like Mario mobility, but with the same amount of like damage on his moves, then he could probably, be higher up. But that's a bad combo, having no range and having no mobility. It's like Kirby essentially, except Dr. Mario was granted the benefit of hitting much harder. So this is where he's going to go. Next is going to be, where is Sheik? Sheik, another character that I think could be listed higher. The problem with Sheik is that Sheik's greatest advantage in Smash 4 was the fact that she was so much faster and had so much better frame data than everyone else in the cast. And people thought that, oh, well, when Ultimate came out and pretty much every character had less lag on their moves, they thought that Sheik was going to be a freaking monster because everyone thought that every character would be improved the same amount. But, Sheik's forward air has, 3 frames of landing lag? It's like, how much can you really reduce that realistically and make a difference, right? Whereas somebody like Zelda, her counterpart, you take a forward air and back air that has 28 frames of lag and you reduce that down to 14. That's a way bigger difference. That's going to mean a lot more for that character. So Sheik kind of got shafted in that regard because her frame data was already so good that there was really no way to improve her without making her crazy. So now everyone's just kind of on the same playing field as her, but the problem is she still does the same amount of damage, if not even less. So you got a lot of characters that can move fast like Sheik, like Palutena, except they just do way more damage and have way safer moves and have way more consistent setups. And for that reason, she really struggles. But Sheik still is a combo queen. She can just forward tilt nair you across the stage for 30% damage, do drag downs, nair bouncing fish. She's still crazy, and I think that there's potential for her to be even higher. But as it stands right now, there's really no reason to pick Sheik when you could just be picking somebody who's just as fast and then does double her damage. And because Sheik can have a hard time getting the kill, she's just giving her opponents way more time to land a kill move on her, and everything kills really early in this game, so that's even more dangerous for Sheik. Okay, so next character is going to be Corrin. What is a female Corrin? Because female Corrin seems to be canon in everyone's mind. Corrin is pretty good. She's kind of budget Ike, in my opinion, though, because she likes to get a lot of her combos started off of her nair, but she's a lot slower, doesn't fall as quickly. But her aerials are really big, and that can't be understated, because that's what she has over somebody like Dr. Mario. Even though she's not that fast, she has range to make up for it. Pin is still a really dangerous move. It's not as safe to use, but it's still quite powerful. Obviously, it being nerfed as heavily as it is part of the reason she's down here. Lack of mobility and pin not being as good of an option, because in Smash 4, even if somebody pinned and their opponent shielded, they could run away with relative certainty that they would be okay. But in this game, you can't, even though pin is still really good and strong, if you don't land it, it's really bad. So that's the reason why pin just isn't that good anymore, even though the move itself is still actually really strong. Projectile isn't that crazy. People can give her the runaround because of everyone how much faster they are. So I think Corrin being here makes a good amount of sense. Alright, next character on the list is going to be Rosalina and Luma. Now, some people are tempted to put her higher just because of the buzz, but this is another situation where I just think the buzz is just crazy, and he just knows Like, there are some characters that just know... Sorry, there are some players that just know a character like the back of their hand. You know, you can't disregard that when talking about how good a character would be for everybody. And that's what really a tier list is more like a guide for the general success a character can provide. And outside of Dabuzz's hands, we really don't see any Rosalinas at all, ever. Like, it's really just him pioneering the character, so it's difficult to know, again, if it's him or if it's Rosalina. Now, let's talk about Rosalina, what she's good at. The Luma being there means that if you ever do a grab, like you want to do like a grab combo, you always have to be careful of Luma getting in the way. So you always gotta worry about that. Also, you know, certain moves might be decently safe on shield, but with Luma there, the extra hit lag, I almost said hit stun, the extra hit lag of hitting Luma will allow Rosalina to punish you much more easily than other characters would, because that hit lag isn't there for them. So defensively, Rosalina is still a really good character, and she's got some decent two-piece combos, but besides that, she's not really that good aggressively, and she's still really light, and her recovery can be decently edge-guarded well, and, you know, just in general spacing moves like jab, you know, she struggles. Her nair isn't as good as it was before, even though she can do some stuff off of it. A relatively average character, I would say. Good defensively, offensively, so I think this is a good spot for her. Next character, this is kind of the Little Mac of mid-tier. That's going to be Ganondorf. A character that, like Little Mac, if I were listing a tier list based upon how easy it is to win with a character, or how easy it might be to get an upset on a top player using a character, I would probably be putting Ganondorf a little bit higher, because Ganondorf is such a volatile character that he can really pull out kills from nowhere. It's ridiculous. You don't, and he's pretty fast, so you don't even know, like, if you're on a platform like Battlefield, you don't know if Ganondorf's just gonna randomly F smash you and just kill you with like 39%. It's very dangerous, so you gotta watch what you're doing around Ganondorf, and for that reason, he creates respect. And when you create respect, you create more situations for you to be able to do what you want. Because if your opponent respects you, that means you're being given a little bit more leeway to move around and threaten people and try and get something going. Because if somebody doesn't respect you, they're just gonna be up in your face, shitting on your mouth. Why didn't I say in your mouth? Why did I say on? Whatever. So he creates respect, which is important, because when you create respect, like I said, you can create freedom to do certain things that you want to do in a game. But he's still really volatile to play. He gets juggled really easily. Behind him, he can have trouble with out-of-shield options unless he does a turnaround up B, but that's also pretty slow. His recovery is pretty bad, and he's pretty slow even on stage. Usually, when you're fighting Ganondorf, as long as you're aware of his burst options, that being side B and down B, you can play around Ganondorf with relative success. Just make sure you're not caught off guard, and you'll usually come out on top. But for the reason that he's really volatile in a way that is much more healthier and more consistent than someone like Little Mac, I'm going to put him here. Next character is going to be Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong, pretty good character. You know, I'm not putting him here because of the Infinite. I don't give a shit about the Infinite. That might get, for one, that might get patched out, and for another, it can be pretty difficult to set that up. I don't factor that in because it's not something that happens all that much. What I'm judging what I'm judging Diddy Kong on is the fact that he can play rock, paper, scissors against you and pretty much bust out two options at any given time, right? Banana means that you have to be careful and keep your shield up every once in a while, but then that command grab means that you got to get out of the way by either jumping or attacking him out of it. So what this effectively means is that Diddy Kong is playing rock, paper, scissors against you, but he's able to pull out two options at any given time. So you have to go neutral with one option and then beat the other in most cases. Now, in Smash 4, that was a lot more deadly, where characters were a lot more stationary, where shielding was so much more powerful, so Diddy Kong being able to thwart that by forcing you to rely on shield and then, you know, grabbing you right out of it with a command grab. That's not as effective in this game because people aren't shielding as often, but it can still be pretty annoying to fight Diddy Kong. Decent character, decent frame data, good aerials. His recovery got buffed, otherwise I would have put him like way over here. But his recovery being much better than it is, pretty good. You know, so I think this is a good spot for him. Next is the Ice Climbers. Now, I think Ice Climbers, whenever I can find them, I think Ice Climbers are decent for the same reason that Rosalina and Lumar are decent. The extra hit lag of hitting another shield or another character can allow the main controlled Ice Climber to punish characters' moves where certain characters might not be able to. You know, I don't care. Like I said, some Ice Climbers, I've seen some infinites, not infinites, but I've seen some like decent combos happen. But it almost seems like with every patch that they introduce, they try and thwart desyncing with a new patch, and then the Ices find a new way to do it, but it's always some other convoluted method of getting the desync to happen. And usually the desync combos that I see are after like 30 tries of someone in training mode, and it's like that can be so hard to recreate in a real match. You know, so if you're able to do it, props to you, but it's not something that really plays a factor in, you know, most of the time. What does play a factor is that Ice Climbers has some really strong aerials. You know, their up air is just so good. Their back air is really good. Their recovery is pretty decent. Squall is really strong. The side B, it lasts deceptively a long amount of time. It's decent at shield poking if the shield's already been damaged a little bit. Ice Climbers are just walking around with a lot of kill power. They're like DDD, but with a little more mobility, better projectiles, better grab throw. So it's like, you know, they're pretty strong, honestly. Next character, and this is where I might get crucified a little bit. I'm gonna put Jigglypuff over here. Yes, Jigglypuff. Yes, indeed, Jigglypuff. Okay, so the thing with Jigglypuff is that she's like Kirby, except she has what Kirby lacks, and that's a means of carrying people across the stage. Oh, hang on, my song's ending. Has it already been half an hour? God damn, I gotta really speed this up. She can carry people across the stage with moves like forward air and nair, which are long-lasting, weaker moves that she can just kind of float into you with, whereas Kirby doesn't really have that. So she's better at pushing people off stage and then edgeguarding them from there. Obviously, Rest is the trump card that Jigglypuff has that a lot of characters don't have beneath them, and this is one of the things that really sets her apart. None of these characters really have trump cards that are meaningful, other than like Little Mac and maybe Ganondorf randomly F smashing you, you know. So that's always a wild card that you have to worry about. Yeah, that's about it. Jigglypuff can make herself really difficult to hit if they want to play like that. The problem is most Jigglypuff players, when they do play, they're actually pretty impatient, so they don't tend to play Jigglypuff the way she probably should be played. Like, if you play against level 9 CPU, you know how hard level 9 CPU Jigglypuff makes it for you, man. They just jump like all the way up to the top of the stage and then just like float around you. And like they can make you wait, and they can try your patience, and that's a strong benefit that Jigglypuff can have, is how difficult she can be to hit and then just come back in with an aerial. Like, she can like back her your shield and then just drift away from an out of shield punish unless you're Lucina, because Lucina's forward air is crazy. But yeah, I think that Jigglypuff is pretty good. And even though shielding is powerful, she does have a shield damaging move in Pound, so you always have to be aware of that. So I think this character is a little bit better than people give her credit for, but nobody's going to want to play her because she's just boring. So, next character, Mewtwo. Luckily, they fixed Mewtwo's tail issue. The problem with Mewtwo is that his combos can be pretty hard to do because you can never be sure where Nair is going to send your opponent. Like in Smash 4, even if you drifted into your opponent with Nair, as long as you drifted back out towards the end of the move, you would always send your opponent in the opposite direction that you were ending your drift. So then you could run, you know, you could like buffer a run into a forward air knowing that that's where they were going to get sent out, right? In this game, it's like I could like start a Nair drifting away from my opponent and keep drifting away from my opponent, and they still get sent behind me, and I have no idea how that happens. So the Nair launching mix-up is like really inconsistent. He has way less hit stun on some of his moves, so some of the combos that he has can be a little bit more difficult to do. And obviously the air dodge changes are huge for Mewtwo because he's light and falls slow. So having a singular air dodge can be pretty bad, and he doesn't have any landing options. So those are the deficits that Mewtwo has, but He hits really hard. He's got some decent combos when he's able to land them. He's got a decent projectile. He's got a good recovery. Some decent spacing aerials in that back air and that up air. He's got some stuff, but I think this is a good spot for him given how easily he can get messed up in a game. Next, we have Luigi. Now, Luigi is a really, he's kind of an enigma. He can be stressful to fight when you're at 0 to 10%, because then you're worrying about constantly that 0 to death. But some of the best strategies to get around the 0 to death with Luigi is to just kind of let yourself get hit by like a straight back air or two, and then that combo is not going to work anymore. Sure, so it's actually a benefit to get hit by Luigi every once in a while. So what you should do if you're ever fighting a Luigi is take to a platform and then let him like up air you 2 or 3 times and then fight him, because then he can't do it anymore, right? So but besides that, Luigi, he still has some decent combos even outside of that 0 to death, because he has such little lag on things like up air and forward air. And Elegant makes Luigi's plunger look like a crazy like buff. It's actually a little bit insane how Elegant utilizes Luigi's new plunger so easily. But he's slow, and his recovery is abysmal. Losing the Cyclone Gimp as well as the Cyclone recovery is a huge hit to somebody whose recovery was already so bad. So I think that evens him out to be about, I think he's like almost exactly the middle character. No, he's not the middle character in the game, but he is roughly the middle of mid tier. I have a lot of characters in my mid tier, I know. Next is going to be Isabelle's counterpart, and that's Villager. So I already talked about Villager a little bit when I went over Isabelle. It's much better for him to have a horizontal moving Lloyd when he has horizontal moving aerials like in that slingshot. So he's able to maintain stage control a lot better. So he's much more consistently able to push people towards the ledge, which is where he wants you, because then he can threaten things like tree and bowling ball, reach or jump with a slingshot. His edge guarding is pretty strong for that reason. He can catch jumps. Decently solid character. Does still have the same issues he had in Smash 4, which is that he can struggle with characters that are fast, that have a lot of range. Lloyd takes time to arm when you start it up, so people who know that will just run right through the Lloyd and then just grab you and do whatever they want with you. So he does still have those weaknesses going for him. But he's still pretty good. Next character is Captain Falcon. There's potential for him to be a little bit higher. I'm open to having my mind change, but I still feel like Captain Falcon is really easily taken advantage of, for the same reasons that Ganondorf is kind of easily taken advantage of. But he's a little bit faster, has a little bit more consistent kill setups, a little bit better recovery. He's a little bit better than Ganondorf in almost every way, except for his smash attacks, I guess. I would much rather have Ganondorf smash attacks on Falcon any day of the week. But he's got some stuff, like the super armor on the side B, the combos he can get off of it, the juggling. Honestly, pretty decent. If his dash weren't so horrendous, he could be honestly a high tier character. But lacking, like I said, good landing options. It can be a struggle to play Captain Falcon. The premier Falcon player of the world, Fatality, is constantly lamenting about the character and how he wants to drop him. Now, obviously, Mars has seen some success with Captain Falcon. He's been able to do some stuff. But I really do think that that's just Mars being really good, especially because I don't think that Zurasu is as good as everyone says that she is. I just think that Mars is just really good at the character. Now, obviously, Zurasu has some stuff, and I'll get to her. But yeah, that's Captain Falcon. Next, a character that I recently changed my mind about. I would have put him a lot lower. I would have put Robin, over here if it weren't for, I think it was... What was that tournament that just happened where Samsora beat MKLeo? I forget where. Naro got third, and he used Robin against Leon in spectacular fashion. But that's not the reason why I think Robin's here. It's really because of Jewel. In Jewel's matches at that same tournament, that man really opened my eyes to what Robin can do. He made Robin look so fast, and so dangerous. And I saw how much better the side B combos can be, and how much quicker Robin can fire off just regular thunders. It's like, wow, Robin's actually really annoying and good. And then he still has crazy kill aerials. It's like Robin is actually pretty dangerous. Now Robin is slow, but that's never a problem for a character like him because he's a projectile character with huge ass aerials. So you got to be careful approaching him, and that's all you can ask for as a zoner. So really, props to Jewel and even Nairo for opening my eyes to how much better Robin can be. And I hope that Robin becomes even better because I wanted Robin so badly in Smash 4, but then I hated the way that he played and I didn't like how bad he was. But if Robin is ever top tier in a game, I will probably play that character because I love Robin. He's really cool. Next is Wii Fit. Wii Fit is one of those characters that I probably could have put in the unknown, but I see some of the combos that Wii Fit trainers be doing in these highlight rules, and I'm like, okay, there's no way a character that outputs that much damage off of one opening can be bad. But she still suffers from unorthodox hitboxes, from being relatively slow. Planking isn't nearly as powerful because you really don't want to be on the ledge. You just don't want to be on the ledge in this game. So planking isn't nearly as good as it was in the previous game. But her damage output is pretty strong. She pretty much gets Cloud Limit whenever she wants. She actually gains increased stats like run speed and stuff like that, I think, when she gets it. So pretty strong character, all things considered. Next is going to be Lucas. Actually, I'm going to put Lucas behind Wii Fit Trainer. Lucas got a buff recently where it's like PK Fire has less lag when you use it while landing. It's like Sakurai really just wanted Lucas to be annoying. He actually wanted Lucas to be annoying. And you know what? It works. Lucas, his side B is pretty fast. It can be difficult to react to even if you have a reflector. He has a Zair. He has some decent grab stuff. He doesn't really have grab throws anymore. But he's got some dangerous aerials like back air and down air. He's got some decent zoning tools. His recovery is better than Ness's. He's got some decent damage output. He's kind of anti-zoning in terms of characters that have energy-based projectiles, so it can be difficult to space Lucas out depending on which character you are. So Lucas is pretty good. I just think that he lacks ways to do damage unless it's like an approaching nair, and that can be pretty bad if it's outspaced or shielded or whatever, right? So I think from his lack of setups and he can, like, a lot of his good combo starting tools are like risky to do, like falling up air. Like if you do falling up air into somebody's shield, you're gonna get shit on. So you gotta be careful. Next up, a character that maybe some people think should be lower, but I'm woke, and that's DK. DK is so annoying. If I were ranking characters based upon who I struggle with the most, DK would be top tier. I don't know what it is. In Smash 4, I had to learn the DK matchup specifically with the character that I had mained back then, right? There's something about grapplers and DK in particular that I'm always going to have to adjust to, and it's always going to take me a long time to do. But objectively speaking, I have to acknowledge DK's faults. That being, he lacks out of shield options as if it's not, a back air out of shield. His recovery is worse in this game than it was in Smash 4. And without dash attack and grab, if he's not able to land those options, then he can really struggle. But where he excels is that he can get killed surprisingly very early by cargo throwing people off stage. And that makes him excel in matchups like against Chrom, which is pretty unique for a character like DK. To have is a good matchup against a Sortie. But no, doesn't really have the best landing options. It can be easy to shark him, and for that reason, he's gonna be here. But never underestimate a Donkey Kong because they'll make your face look ugly. That's all I got. Next is Meta Knight. I don't really have much to say about Meta Knight, to be honest. He's decent. He's got some good combos. His back air still kills hella early. He's still got some up air strings. It can be difficult to do these strings, though, because of the way the collision works. Since Meta Knight is always pushing his opponent away as he's, trying to follow them with his up air and down air. So a lot of his combos can be more difficult to do without risking them, getting hit by the opposite side of an up air or just having, a down air miss. So Meta Knight can struggle in that regard, but he's still as dangerous as he was before in terms of, he's doing the up airs. Is he going to up B? Is he going to wait for the air dodge inside B? Is he going to punish the landing again and go for more? So he's got some good damage. He is fast. He's got a good recovery, and he's small. So a character with all those strengths is bound to be at least a little bit good. So next is Lucario. It can be difficult for Lucario in this game because, like I said when I was talking about, I forget who, but whatever. I mentioned before that everyone kills uber early in this game. So Lucario, it's more difficult for him to build up his aura than it was before, because for a lot of characters in this game, it's like you can die at like 50 or 60 if you're not careful. And just because it's so much easier to kill people, and it's much safer to land certain kill moves, because in general stuff just has way less lag on it, Lucario can have a much harder time. But Lucario can move. Lucario's got a good projectile. He's got some good combo tools. I think it was Anti that was playing Lucario for a while when the game came out, and he made Lucario look wild. So I want to see more people step up with the character, and maybe I can rank him higher, but for now, this is where he's going to go. And the last character that's going to top off mid-tier is going to be... Where is she? My main in Smash 4. Bayonetta. Bayonetta, she has no shortage of combos that'll output a lot of damage. That much can't be understated. But she can struggle with positioning herself. She's a lot slower in this game. Her camping tools aren't as strong, like holding down tilt and, stalling nair. She, like, a lot of those better ways that she had to coerce her opponent to approach her hastily aren't as strong. Her witch time is slower. She doesn't get her side B refresh when she hits a shield. And also she can't do the flip kick mix up. Not flip kick. She can't do the heel slide mix up when she hits a shield, so it makes punishing Bayonetta a lot more scary. Up throw into up B, not nearly as powerful as it was in Smash 4. In fact, it's not really a true combo at all, so holding shield against Bayonetta is pretty powerful in general. She can have trouble landing kills. She's really the Sheik of this game. And for that reason, for that inconsistency, I'm going to put her here instead of within the high tier. But she's still a character that can edgeguard really well, that has a good recovery, that can turn things around on you with that witch time. Just because it's slower doesn't mean it's not a factor that you have to worry about. Bat Within can still save her out of a lot of situations, and she still outputs a ton of damage. So as long as she's good about getting that kill, like as long as the player knows how to get that kill with Bayonetta, they can make her look almost as broken as she was before. So this is where she's going to be. Now we're moving into high tier, and this is where everyone will start hating me. If they don't already. But the first character that's going to be rounding off the high tiers, bottom of high tier, is going to be the Pits. The Pits are really good. Nobody really uses them for some unknown reason. They're really strong. They have good spacing options. If you go into training mode right now and start back airing with Pit, and you'll realize that that's actually a good move. His forward air is really good. His up air is really strong. The problem with Pit before in previous games was that a lot of people said that he's a jack of all trades, master of none. And usually in a game like Smash Brothers, characters that have unique, overwhelming strengths in one field can be really, really strong. So even if a character lives on an extreme, if they have an extreme strength, then that's usually offset, right? Now in Little Mac's case, that's not true because his extreme strengths don't outweigh his extreme weaknesses. But somebody like Peach, even though she has an extreme lack of mobility compared to the top tiers, she has extreme damage output. So that's her trade-off. Whereas as Pit and Dark Pit have gotten slowly buffed, and now in this game everyone's so much better, the Pits have just become not average at everything. They've become above average at everything. Like they've got a kill throw, they've got grab throws, they've got spacing aerials, they've got a projectile. They have decent landing options with falling nair. They can armor through certain moves with side B. They have a reflector, so they're pretty good at anti-camping. And their dash animation is pretty good too. They have a good grab range. There's really not much that the character's lacking. He has a good recovery. He can edge guard. He has jab blocks. Yeah. I don't know what it is about these characters that everyone just kind of ignores how good they are for some reason, and I guess it's really just because nobody plays them. And to be fair, that's because they're pretty boring to play, but they're very good characters, and I feel like people really need to not think that they're shit, because they're actually really good. Next character is going to be Duck Hunt. So I'm tempted to put Duck Hunt a little bit lower, but I've seen other players besides, I think it's Shuton, yeah. Wait, is it Shuton? No, Raito. I'm so sorry. Not bad. I've seen other characters besides Raito do well with Duck Hunt. And Duck Hunt is still annoying in this game. Ken is still frame 1, you know, so he's got a decent he's got a decent way to get out of certain combos. He's got some good setups. He's got some good spacing tools. He has grab throws. He has grab combos. Sorry, grab throws. I meant to say he has combo throws. His recovery is pretty good. He can air dodge out of the up B now, which is a huge thing for him. Pretty much an annoying character if you don't know what you're doing. Otherwise, he can be pretty easily taken advantage of because he's Duck Hunt and he's pretty slow. And he can be pretty easily stuffed out. So next is going to be a character that a lot of people are probably wondering why the hell did it take me so long to place him, and that's going to be Ridley. Ridley's really good. He's really fast. He's got a good command grab burst option, which is important because he can struggle with shields when he's trying to space his dangerous aerials like Nair. So having an option that somebody has to respect from across the stage is really good. He recently got buffed. His up air is stronger, I think. His back air is stronger. His up smash is stronger. His biggest weakness and something preventing him from being at the top of high tier instead of being at the bottom is being light, being big, and falling slow. He's pretty much got what Rosalina has, except he can kill a lot more consistently. And just in general has some pretty good damage output, good combo throws, stuff like that. I think Ridley is a character that's really slept on. And I really hope that someone comes out the cut and does well with this character. If Zelda gets nerfed, I might main this character just to show people that Ridley has a sauce. I might. Next is going to be my man Riddles. I'm not even calling them Simon Belmont and Richter Belmont. It's just Riddles. Now, if there's anyone who's qualified to talk, well, maybe there's more people that's qualified to talk about his placement within the tier list, but I feel like I am because I live in the same region that Riddles is in. I'm in Canada. So I know I've played against Riddles a lot. I've seen him play a lot. So I know really well how good the character is and what they struggle with. There are ways to get around things like Holy Water F Smash when you're at the ledge. You know, and it's just a matter of people picking up on how to get around it. And Riddles knows this, which is why he's actually expressed the desire to drop the character. In fact, I think he actually already has dropped him. He's playing like Joker, Ken, and someone else now or something like that. But there's a reason for that, and it's because these characters have very important weaknesses, and that is they're very easily gimped. They can have trouble landing because they have some of the worst drift in the entire game, along with bad options. Their only mix-up is using down air, which can be easily punished, decently easy to react to. But their strengths, they have really obnoxious projectiles. Like their side B has like no lag. Like you can shield a side B point blank range and try and punish it with an out of shield nair, and they'll shield it. It's wild. Like they have such a little lag on some of their projectiles. And then their aerials are so big, so when you master usage of them, they can become really dangerous. So depending on what character you are, you can have a really hard time. Like I can't imagine Lucario having a nice time against the Belmonts because he'll kill them really early and keep Lucario out, and he doesn't really have an answer to getting in safely without playing extremely patiently. So Belmont demands space. He's got decent out of shield options. If he didn't have good out of shield options, he'd be here. Okay, maybe not that low. But having a nair out of shield and an up out of shield is super, super important for that character. Because once you do close the distance and you're forced into your shield, the last thing you want is to be stuck there. So the fact that he has an answer out of it is important for the character. But he's, near the bottom of high tier because of the weaknesses that I outlined earlier. Next is going to be two characters that kind of get slept on, but I have two players in my region that use them quite a bit. Where the hell are they? Me Gunner, I'm gonna play some at the same time. Screw it. And me Sword Fighter. I have two really good players in my region that use Sword Fighter, that being Poke Cheese and Steve from Accounting, both of which are PR within Southern Ontario. And Me Gunner, which is piloted also by Poke Cheese. So these characters are really good. Me Gunner's nair is really big. It's like a cloud nair almost. Yeah, it's kind of like a cloud nair. Now, it's not as big as Cloud's neutral air was in Smash 4, but what it does do is it covers the same amount of space relative to Mii Gunner's body. So as a get off me tool, as a spacing tool for that character, Mii Gunner's Nair is really good for keeping people out, and that's very important for a character that specializes on zoning. And Mii Gunner's zoning tools are also pretty good. Spacing with fair, spacing with the projectiles that Mii Gunner has, the bomb that you can do to trap people on the ledge. The downside is that you can potentially get hit by that as well, so you gotta be careful. But Mii Gunner's spacing tools are pretty good, and decent kill moves as well. Up air is really strong. You know, like just a good character that has a means of getting people off of them and then maintaining that zoning pressure. Mii Sword Fighter. People mistakenly constantly talk about Tornado when talking about this character, and that's not all this character is. In fact, a lot of the really good Mii Sword Fighters opt not to run Tornado some of the time unless they're in a certain matchup, right? But Tornado is not just what this character is. If anything, Chakram is a lot more dangerous of a zoning tool for Mii Sword Fighter because it conditions people to do things like hold shield or try not to jump because they're afraid of having their jump red, and then Mii Sword Fighter goes in for a grab, starts doing their insanely powerful up air. They have combo throws. They don't really have a kill throw, but they do have ledge setups. Like they can do weak Chakram throw into running dash attack or forward tilt, which is surprisingly pretty strong. So Mii Sword Fighter has some stuff. His disjoint is small, but it is a disjoint. So decent character with decent recovery, decent edge guarding, decent aerials. They're decent all around, but Mii Sword Fighter and Mii Gunner do have the potential for cheese, which is why they are slightly higher. So this is where I think they should be. Next character, someone that often gets forgotten when talking about their counterparts, and that's Toon Link. Toon Link, there's not really much to say. He's good for all the reasons he's good in Smash 4. He's pretty much the exact same character, which isn't a bad thing. He's still really good. So I'm just going to leave Toon Link here with not much comment. I think that he's slept on because people forget about him in favor of the other Links, but he's not worth forgetting because he can still be really dangerous. So you got to make sure that you're careful around Toon Link. Don't just assume that he's bad because you don't see people playing Toon Link. You still have to respect him just as much as you might have done so in Smash 4. So next character is going to be Sonic. If Sonic didn't have that damn ass annoying neutral B, he'd be like here. But Sonic's neutral B is so good because at any given time, he can just hammer that neutral B and hit you from across the stage. So you need to be really careful what you're doing or else he's going to catch you slipping. And that means that even though Sonic can't camp you out and keep you on your toes with like shield cancel side B, he can do the same thing with neutral B. So he's still strong for all the same reasons. But he's slightly lower ranked in this game because some moves like back air aren't as powerful, and some of the stages that we have now at our disposal are much bigger, like Town and City and Kalos. Even stages like Yoshi's Story Melee, they're much bigger. So unless he gets certain, like he can do like a jump read with like springs, like with a spring back air off stage and like read your jump and kill you. But for the most part, it can be difficult for him to get a kill early without relying on something like F Smash, which is indeed a very brokenly big move. Don't know why they decided to make that move that big. So that's Sonic. The next character is Ken. Ken is really dangerous. Ken is very dangerous. The problem, like, he's got some mix-ups on landings, but he still has to be careful because his drift isn't crazy unless he has the down B that he's used. He can struggle with recovering because if he's forced to use his side B while recovering, he will pretty much never make it back. And if you let Ken and Ryu side B to the stage for free, then you suck. And that's a really big problem, is that their recovery can be really linear if they have to rely on that side B. Besides that, though, Ken has crazy combos. He's just really strong. Good mix-up potential. Being able to kill off of a late hit of Shoryuken is so important because sometimes, like when you're playing Ryu, being limited to your strong hit being tied to the start of your move can be a detriment, which is why, like I said, I don't even know where to place him. But someone like Ken, I can combo you and then like read your jump and then just randomly Shoryu and kill you at 80. So you gotta be careful with him. He can kill really early and his damage output is insane, but his recovery can leave something to be desired. He can be spaced out by characters with a superior disjoint. He can have some trouble with camping, so you gotta be careful. Next up is going to be Ness. Ness is pretty much good, like I said, for like with Toon Link. He's good for all the same reasons he's good in Smash 4. Now, he doesn't have falling up air, but everything else is pretty much the exact same. He can do the down throw combos into forward air. His PSI magnet extensions are really fun to watch, and they provide him with a new option in terms of mixing up his landing, which is really important because a character like Ness would typically struggle without being able to spam air dodges like you could in Smash 4. But that PSI magnet stalling his momentum to the ground can be a huge benefit in mixing up how he wants to fall down to the ground in disadvantageous situations. His recovery is pretty bad though, which is why he's not higher up. But his damage output, pretty good, decent projectile inside B, but also his up B. It can actually be surprisingly irritating to try and land against Ness if he's just spamming PK Thunder under you. Like it's actually pretty impressive how strong that projectile is, and I've just seen it kill off the top because people just get juggled by it and they can't even land. It's so funny. But that's Ness. Next is Cloud. Cloud's still pretty good. Like a lot of his best spacing tools like back air have like very little lag on them, so even if they're not that disjointed, they're still pretty safe. Nair is still pretty good for carrying opponents across the stage, although it's not as much of a defensive juggernaut as it was before. His new toy is that side B. That side B is so big and it does so much damage, so it doesn't take much for Cloud to do a lot of damage to you. He just needs like 3 openings, that's 3 side Bs, that's like 60%, and then he gets limit, and then you gotta be careful. You gotta start watching out. His forward air is still really big. His recovery, while linear, is just about as strong as it was in the previous game. In fact, it's like directional air dodges probably help Cloud more than anybody else, because then you can air dodge to the ledge, or you can air dodge out of hit stun and still maintain your jump. So that can be a really big thing for Cloud as well. And with that limit, he's always going to be a threat. So you always gotta watch out with Cloud. Always gotta watch out with Cloud. Next is a character who, I don't know why everyone talks about this character like he's the second coming of Jesus Christ, but it's Shulk. Every top player tier list that I see, they have Shulk up here. And it's like, okay, Shulk's aerials themselves are faster in terms of how quickly they like finish. Like if you nair with Shulk, the move goes around him so much more quickly, right? But the startup of Shulk's aerials are still trash. So he still has the same problem that he did in Smash 4. Now, he's obviously much better because the dial makes using Shulk a lot easier for people who don't specialize in Shulk, which means that he's a lot easier to be successful with. You know, a la Salem being able to use Shulk to, I think, reverse 3-0. The fuck is I don't know if you heard that. Someone just blasting music like real quick for no reason. Yeah, so being able to reverse 3-0 the buzz with Shulk, even though he's not really a specialist with that character, right? But the reason why his aerials coming out slow is a problem is because of parrying. You can parry Shulk's aerials on reaction with relative ease in this game. It's really not that difficult at all. Like I was playing friendlies with a Shulk player, and I think I literally parried every single aerial that he ever did in like one of the matches that we played. Like every aerial, like I parried it. It was ridiculous because you can react to an aerial coming out and then just parry it and then just do whatever you want against Shulk. Whereas somebody like Lucina, you know, she doesn't really have to worry about that as much because since her aerials come out so quickly, you can't react to her just forward airing you because when you see it, it's already hitting you. So Shulk has that issue. His out of shield options are bad unless you resort to up B out of shield. But it's not as quick as some other up Bs out of shield are defensive wise, and if it gets baited, you can be in a lot of trouble. Especially if you were like in Smash Art and you were trying to do an up B out of shield to kill somebody at 70 with Smash Art up B out of shield, and now you get forward smash and you were at like 50 and then you die, right? So you gotta be careful about putting yourself in a precarious position as Shulk. He still has the same problems, which is that a lot of his aerials come out slowly, so they can easily be parried or stuffed out, and every character is a lot faster in this game. But the benefit is that Shulk has access to his Monado arts a lot quicker. He has less landing lag on a lot of his moves, so he's easier to utilize. And when you have that much range on a character that can be that fast, he's naturally going to be a strong character. But he's not a top tier. He's just not a top tier. Next is Falco. What can I say about Falco that hasn't been said before? He has the same weaknesses he did in Smash 4, except his combo trees have been increased tremendously. However, the problem with Falco is that as long as you can avoid getting grabbed or getting up tilted, he's going to have a lot more difficult of a time doing damage to you, because that's what he's going to want in any situation. Now, yeah, I was gonna add to that, but that's pretty much it. As long as you know what Falco is looking for at any given time, avoiding it is relatively simple, because Falco is pretty slow. So him getting into position to do anything he wants, whether it's kill you with a back air at kill percent or start up tilting you for combos. Sorry, I hit my mic. As long as you know what Falco's looking for, avoiding it is not that difficult. Whereas there are some characters where even if you know what they want to do, it can be difficult to avoid it. Like, even though you know Ivysaur wants to go for like grab down throw into Vine Whip, it can be difficult to avoid that because he's got all these other tools and ways of mixing you up, right? Whereas Falco's a lot more linear of a character. Next is a character who I really don't want to put up this high, but Game & Watch. Game & Watch is kind of crazy. Anti-zoning in many senses. I can't believe it's already been an hour. I can't believe it's already been an hour. By the way, shout out to the guy who posted this YouTube video. Hooray for PlayStation Extended. Next character, like I said, Game & Watch. He's pretty much anti-zoner because he can reflect both physical-based projectiles and absorb energy-based projectiles. So zoning him out with a zoner in terms of like playing Mega Man or something, not really something that's feasible. Obviously something that's still possible. Who's hammering my doorbell? I'm gonna cut that out. I want to cut that out. Anyway, now there are obviously there are some characters who have projectiles that have a delay on them that you can use to bait it out, right? So like if you're playing, like let's say Pikachu and Pichu, right? If you Thunder Jolt, you might be trying to coerce him to use his down B to absorb the projectile, and then you come in above him and punish him for doing it, right? So it's not like he's just an answer to all projectile characters, but he does make their life a lot more difficult. That up B out of shield means that even though shields in this game are typically weaker, his shield is still a strong option. He's got some decent edge guarding, his recovery is pretty good. His main detriment is that he's pretty light. And he's susceptible to dying early to some crazy stuff, and he can struggle to kill unless he edge guards you off stage or something like a back air. But also him having that trump card with that down throw 9 that he could potentially always hit you with, though inconsistent, is always going to be at the forefront of your mind. So that means that you're not going to want to get grabbed, so you're not going to be shielding, which means you might just get hit by random things like chair. So Game & Watch, he's got all the tools he needs to circumvent options that somebody would typically use to get around his best tools, and then he punishes you for that instead. So, good character, all things considered. Next up, the character that is also unorthodox, but is better, is Pac-Man. I think some people can do a better job at avoiding things like Hydrant. Like, some people just try and jump after Pac-Man, and then he just Hydrants them and they get hit. And I'm always like, why do you get hit by that? Like, everyone knows Pac-Man is going to Hydrant. You knew he was going to Hydrant. I knew he was going to Hydrant. And you still got hit by Hydrant. You know what I mean? Like, but his projectiles are really good. The Hydrant itself creates a really important wall for Pac-Man to give him the space he needs to do things like charge his projectiles. Pac-Man can kind of get in your face. Like, you don't expect Pac-Man to scrap with you, and then he starts scrapping, and he's like, oh, actually, he's got some decent moves, like forward air nair, or forward air. He's got some, I think, grab throws, like with up throw nair. So he's got some stuff, decent recovery, good ledge trapping options. His moves are strong. Things like up smash and forward smash linger, surprisingly so, and they're decently fast. So Pac-Man all around, probably one of the better zoners in the game, because he's he's very difficult to hit because he spends so much of his time in the air, and then even when you get him on the ground, he's got this barrier to protect him. So you've got to play Pac-Man's game, and if you allow yourself to get flustered, Pac-Man can really take advantage of you and just push that advantage even further, and that finish line is just going to get farther and farther away. Next up, Mega Man. I just got two of the zoners back to back. I do think that Mega Man is better than Pac-Man. He was already really good in Smash 4, but Mega Man is really good because like, you would think that a character, for instance, with the Reflector would be good against Mega Man, but that can be pretty difficult to do because even if you reflect Metal Blade, he can just shoot the Metal Blade with his pellet and then it just disappears. And if you reflect his pellets, the first pellet that you reflect will clank with the second pellet that he shoots, and then the third one will hit you and do like 2%. So, so reflecting stuff against Mega Man doesn't really always work. Leaf Blade is super good. He's got some decent kill throws. Back air is still super strong. So out of shield, forward air and back air are pretty good. He can struggle with out of shield options if you're like directly above his head, I suppose, but that's not usually a very common thing to happen. Good spacing tools, decent approaching aerials and retreating aerials. His recovery is pretty good. Leaf shield is really good. Like, he just got good stuff. If I had to talk about his weaknesses, it'd be that, you know, because his moveset is so unorthodox, you can find yourself struggling to do things that a lot of characters don't, like spacing stuff out. Like Flame Shield is only so good because it's only so big. So you always gotta be careful. When you get in on Mega Man, he doesn't really have that up B at a shield option that Game & Watch does, but I do think that his zoning is a lot better. You know, so that's just my view. I think that Mega Man is really good. Next up is Link. Link is hard to play. Like, trying to use bombs to recover and stuff like that. Like, I've tried doing that. I was like, damn, how do you Link players do this? How do you guys recover with bombs so consistently? But Link's aerials are humongous, and even though he's fast, he doesn't even need to be, you know, decently fast, because his aerials and his stuff is so good. Like, his neutral air, super strong. He's got some great setups off things like Boomerang. That new bomb, very important for ledge trapping, because you can coerce people into making silly mistakes. Like, if you throw bomb downward, even if you never make it explode, for as long as it's bouncing, it'll always have an active hitbox on it. So what a lot of people will do is they'll try and neutral get up through it just to get hit by it, and then like the Link forward smashes them or up smashes them or up Bs them or whatever, right? So there's a lot of things that Link can do. He has some infinite, but again, these are impractical. As a zoner, he's just really strong. Good out of shield options. If you want to see a really good Link player, I recommend checking out any set that has Orange in it. He's a PR player in Southern Ontario, along with me. Shout outs to Orange, pretty good Link player. Probably one of the better ones out there that I recommend. If there's ever a Hyrule Saga for Link players, please fly Orange out. He will make crazy plays on stream, I promise. Next is going to be actually another Zelda character, and we're not going to see eye to eye on this issue. No one is going to see eye to eye on this issue with me, okay? Listen, I main Zelda, so you're going to have to give me the leeway that I want, okay? I'm sorry, but I do think that Zelda's crazy. If Zelda didn't have access to Displace Phantom, then I would put Zelda like over here. This is where I'd put Zelda if she couldn't do Displace Phantom. But that move, that tech, single-handedly changes the way that certain matchups behave. Like against Falco, if you don't have Displaced Phantom, by the way, if you don't know what that is, Displaced Phantom is that tech where you jump back with Phantom and then you end up making the Phantom charge in front of you instead of behind you. So if she's fighting somebody like Falco and she doesn't know how to do Displaced Phantom, Falco can just laser her on reaction every time, and then she can't use Phantom unless she's like trying to jump over a laser and like hit him with like a stage 3 or 4 Phantom, right? So she'd always struggle, and then she has to worry about the reflector, right? But having Displaced Phantom helps her against Mega Man, it helps her against Link, it helps her against Ness and Lucas and Young Link and Toon Link and Richter and like Ridley, and pretty much anybody that can interrupt her with a projectile is no longer an issue. And Phantom is one of the best moves in the game because of how much space it creates. So she actually has a strong command of the neutral game because she's able to coerce her opponents into doing what she wants, which is either approaching her or to run away and give her stage control so that she can force you more and more to the ledge, which is where the real plays happen. Because, of course, Zelda's kill power is probably pretty close to being unmatched unless you're comparing her to like Smash Art Monado. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Smash Art. Okay, I know the sword is called the Monado, but I was calling Shulk Monado, which is why it was like Monado. Whatever. Like her kill power is comparable to like Smash Art Shulk and like Arsene, like, and she doesn't lack access to it. I've seen so many tier lists where people are like, "Oh, Zelda out of shield options suck." I'm like, what are you talking about? She has 2 frame 6 killing aerials on either side of her, and an up B at a shield that comes out on frame 6 that'll kill people at 50 if I cross up the DI. So, like if anything, Zelda has the most dangerous shield in the entire game. And then with Phantom, she also has a means of coercing her opponent to approach her before she can set it up. Because the last thing you want is to let Zelda approach you while she has the backup of a Phantom. That's very dangerous because it'll cover your jump, it'll cover a spot dodge, she can break your shield if you're not careful. She can just grab you and let the Phantom hit you. You don't want to allow Zelda to approach you for free with a Phantom. And so, the best option against Zelda is almost always to jump over her and try and intercept her. But that's usually what she wants because she was typically bad at approaching in previous games. So, ironically, what was previously her worst feature in Smash 4, which was her neutral game and her approach option, is kind of a moot point. She doesn't need to approach in this game anymore. And she has one of the best neutrals in the game because she controls the game at almost any point with that down B. It really is that important. And then when you factor in Displace Phantom, she becomes even more dangerous. She has crazy combos, she has 2 kill throws, although her grab is really slow and that is a detriment. Her grab is bigger than most, her pivot grab is humongous. She has combos, she has kill throws, she has ledge traps, she has ledge setups, she has frame traps, she covers multiple options, her recovery is really good. Her landing options are pretty good because even if you're trying to land against somebody like Lucina, if you notice that they're going to try and intercept you, you just teleport off to the side and then fast fall to the ledge. You'd rather, trust me, it's better to get off the ledge than to try and fall directly down onto the stage. So she actually has some crazy stuff, and people just really don't know anything about her because I'll straight up be playing matches against people and I'll like reflect a projectile with neutral B, and they're like, that move reflects? Because people are just used to seeing Nehru's Love used as only a get off me tool on like Wi-Fi. Some people don't even know the move reflects. These are people attending tournaments and they don't even know. Like, it's crazy. So I'm going to try my best to show up with Zelda more because I've already gotten some good wins and I'm already PR in my region. But I'm going to try and make more threats internationally with this character. But people are not going to see eye to eye on me on this issue with Zelda, okay? You're just not. So just let me place her where I think she should be, okay? Okay. Next is Yoshi. Annoying ass little fucker. Yoshi is Jigglypuff if Jigglypuff were really good. He makes himself really difficult to hit in the same way that Jigglypuff can. His recovery is really difficult to intercept. He is weak to, you know, being footstooled, and if he is hit out of his double jump armor, then you pretty much know what he's going to do next. He's going to air dodge. So it can be pretty easy once you do knock him out of it, once he's at that high percent. But otherwise, he's heavy. He's got some good damage output. He can do some crazy combos. Yeah, Yoshi's just kind of wild, and it's annoying because Yoshi's annoying. So I don't like a character that's this obnoxious being good, but he's good. Next is Ike. If Ike didn't have combo throws, he'd probably be like over here. But the reason he's here is because he has a grab combo throw. And this is what Shulk lacks. Now, if Shulk had a grab combo throw, like if he could do down throw fair, then he would be a top tier. But as it stands, there's really nothing that Shulk can do to threaten people who are shielding. Whereas Ike can, because Ike can just grab you and then just do up throw forward air or down throw forward air or up air or whatever. So constantly shielding against somebody like his neutral air is very risky because he might just mix you up, right? And that makes Ike's mix-ups pretty strong. And then of course the nair itself and forward air and his back air, he's packed with kill moves. They made his up air way faster and then they forgot to make it weaker, so it just kills really early. It's like wild. You know why Ike's here, so let's move on. Next, a character that I am adamant is not as good as everyone thinks that she is, but everyone thinks that she's crazy just because one player or maybe even 2 players do well with her, and that's Zero Suit. Okay, flip kick, really good move. Okay, her side B, I'm glad that they brought it back to what it was in Brawl, which was a kill option. You know, that's really neat. You know, but I just like, it's difficult because it's like shielding is still so good against Zero Suit. In fact, much more so because in Smash 4, shielding against Zero Suit was good, but you gotta be careful because of that grab. And if she gets that grab, you might die at 20. So in this game, she has nothing off of a throw, and that is a huge, huge hit. If she still had that down throw combo, then she would be a top tier like everyone is saying that she is. But like the thing is, her benefits is that she's fast, she's got some good aerials, her recovery is really good, she can edge guard pretty decently well, but her down smash, she can't really combo off of it that well. She pretty much, her only option is to go straight for an up B. She can't really go for like down smash into like jump back flip kick spike to kill you with like 30. Her paralyzer has very little hits on it, so you got to be careful with what you try and do with it. Her burst options are very lacking, and that's a really big deal. Like Zero Suit, she's constantly jumping, so she's constantly mixing up what she wants to do next, but her burst options are actually really lacking, and she relies on the intimidation of her movement to get people to do things that are stupid. But the things that she does have, like I said, movement, decent out of shield options like up B and forward air out of shield. Forward air, if she couldn't hit short opponents with rising forward air out of shield, I don't know what this character would do in this meta because so many of these characters are so short. But I tend to agree with Mars that people overrate Zero Suit quite heavily. Next is Mario. I thought Mario was going to be Dookie Doodoo Butt Cheeks. But he's not. Mario's actually still pretty good. His down air is a surprisingly strong kill option off the top. He still combos the crap out of people like all the time. His recovery is still good. I think he lost his down throw 50-50 forward air. Like, I'm not sure, but I like never ever see anyone do it anymore, so I have to wonder why. But Mario's good for the same reason he was good before. Now his up tilt isn't as disgusting as it was before, meaning that Mario's going to have to tack on some percent a little bit more fairly before he can start doing up air, up air, up air, up air, up air, up air. But the thing is, he still has up air, up air, up air, up air, up air. So he's still really good damage-wise. Next character. Man, y'all gonna hate me. Fox. It's difficult to pinpoint why Fox isn't as strong in this game as he was in previous games. Actually, no, I can tell you why. His mix-up off the his mix-ups off the ledge are much weaker because he can't side B through his opponent. He lost his down throw combo tools, and he can't fair footstool you. I mean, like, he can still go for it, but it's not a true combo anymore. You know, so he lost a lot of the comeback factor that he might have had. But his combo is still really good. He still falls quickly, so he can neutral air dodge through a lot of pressure if he's trying to land, so that's pretty good too. Reflector helps for a character that has decently low range, as Fox does, if you're trying to fight a zoner. You know, just decent moves. That nair and up air and back air and that up smash, just they're all like, Fox has always been a character that comes together super well. So yeah, but those weaknesses I mentioned, you know, keep him out of the top tier. Next is going to be a character I really don't want to be this good. It's Bowser. Usually with a heavy character, you associate the heavy characters with being slow but powerful. The best heavy character in this game, spoiler alert, Bowser's the best heavy in this game, unless you consider Rob a heavy. The best heavy in this game is fast as hell. Like, Bowser is so fast, and I'm not used to seeing him have so little lag on his moves. Fire Breath, it's like, why in the like how to play tutorial in Smash Ultimate are you showing me Mario shielding Bowser's Fire Breath like that works? Like, no, like shielding Fire Breath is risky, and if you get shield poked, you're still gonna eat like 20 or 30% damage from that move. It is so scary. His aerials are fast, they have little lag. His command grab is super intimidating. He still has combo throws. He has kill throws. He doesn't have a forward air. Bowser has an every air. Okay, that's what that move is. You can be behind Bowser and get hit by forward air. Okay, that move is huge. And being heavy makes it really difficult to kill Bowser. So it's like, ironically, like really a fast character with combo throw, like it sounds like I'm talking about Sheik when I say fast characters with combo throws and really fast and strong aerials that have no lag. It sounds like I'm talking about Sheik, but what I'm talking about is Bowser, who kills like 4 times earlier than Sheik. and with more ease and with more range. Like, Bowser's just crazy. And I don't want him to be crazy. I want Bowser to be bad, but he's good. Bowser's good. He's crazy. All right, next. Next, a character that doesn't have good range is Young Link. Young Link, I think that his true potential is yet to be untapped. Tweak is always talking about how good the character is and how he wants to unlock the character's potential, but then he'll like use Young Link for one game and then like stop using him. So besides him, I never really get to see any really crazy Young Links doing their thing, because their projectiles are. Hang on, I was mixing two thoughts. Okay, I never really get to see Young Links do anything crazy, but their projectiles are really good. Things like Fire Arrow and Boomerang and Bomb, they're all such good projectiles. His recovery leaves something to be desired, which is a pretty big point. You know, you can try and do bomb recoveries, you know, really low, but that doesn't happen very often. His recovery distance is actually pretty bad, and his range in general, pretty lackluster. But he's got some weird things, like he can do up B out of shield into up air, and to me that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, why is he comboing up B into up air? That doesn't make any sense. But you know, he can kill pretty early. He can do a lot of damage. He's got some good zoning tools. He's difficult to hit, but he has a lack of range, and his recovery isn't that good. So when he's in disadvantaged situations, he can be pretty linear, and that makes him easy to punish. So that's really what holds him back. But if you're clever, you can really get around his weaknesses, because having a bad disadvantage is, I think, the number one thing that a player's skill can circumvent. It really is. You as a player can be so good at avoiding bad situations that having a bad disadvantage situation or bad recovery is hardly as much of a detriment in that player's hands as it is somebody else's. So I think the character's limits have yet to be pushed. Next is Roy and Chrom. I think Roy is better than Chrom. So Roy and Chrom, they're good. The only thing is their recoveries are pretty lacking. But that's really it. Like, they both have their own ridiculous strengths, like Chrom's amazing combo ability and Roy side B killing at like 50. They're just super good, the both of them. There's really not much to say. I think that there's very few things holding them back. I think their disadvantage, you know, having a lack of good landing options can hurt them. Usually, like with Chrom, for instance, here's a rule of thumb, okay? If Chrom is close enough to jump air dodge to the ledge, he will, okay? So if Chrom is, if you're ever at the ledge ready to edgeguard his up B, if you think, hang on, he could probably jump an air dodge to the ledge, then wait for the air dodge and then just punish that instead. Now, Roy is better for that reason because he doesn't usually have to rely on air dodging because his recovery is much more horizontal, of course. So they both excel at different things, but they're both very, very dangerous. Now, I do think that top tier is a whole other story in general, which is why, like they're good enough to contend with the other top tiers. But when I look at the characters that aren't top tier, I'm just like, I really don't believe that these characters can contend with them. Like, well, okay, they can contend with them, but they're not on that level. Like, it's the same thing with all of these characters up here in this row. Like, they can all contend with top tiers. They all have unique strengths that allow them to fight top tiers with relatively decent success, especially if the player knows what they're doing. But these characters are not as good as the top tier. It's not even close. Because they're either too difficult to play, or they have one weakness that really shines more than top characters have. So we're gonna go to top tier now. And at the bottom of top tier, we got Pichu. Lack of range is pretty important, and being the lightest character in the game and also doing damage to yourself, not the greatest combination in the world. Especially when everyone's got these fast-ass moves that can just hit you and kill you, and you know, people like Bowser exist, and like he just back airs you out of all of a sudden and you just die at 40. It's Pichu. He's a character that lives on an extreme, and usually characters, like I said, that live on an extreme, as long as they have an extreme strength, then they can make up for their extreme weaknesses. And this is a case where Pichu's strengths do actually make up for his weaknesses, unlike somebody like Little Mac, whose strengths don't make up for his weaknesses. But those weaknesses still exist. And the best characters in any Smash game are not characters that are really good at one thing and bad at other things. It's usually a character that's good at everything. So even having those weaknesses is going to put him at the bottom. Next up is Mr. Trump Card Fart Ass himself, Wario. Wario's really good. Not much to say. Another kind of linear character. Like, I can't watch Tweak's Wario or Gluttony's Wario or anyone's Pocket Wario and tell the difference between who's playing who. Like, if I watched Leon play Bowser and then I watched somebody else play Bowser, I would be able to tell you which one was Leon, right? If I was playing Zelda and Ven was playing Zelda, I could tell you who was who, right? Without being able to see the tags. Wario, I never know, because Wario's game plan is very, very linear. Without Bike, his recovery is pretty linear. His combo tree is pretty linear. You usually know what Wario wants at any given time. He either wants to do Nair or grab. And he doesn't really have ways of conditioning people into not avoiding them. So the lack of range on Wario can be a pretty big deal, which is why he's not higher. But then, of course, you have to worry about that trump card, which is that big fat fart, which can single-handedly turn a whole set around. Next up, a character that I feel like can be taken advantage of more. He's going to be over here. Rob. Rob is really big, and you'd think that makes him easy to combo. But then he has like this Nair, which just feels like a barrier all around Rob that makes him really difficult to hit, and then he can like Rob. It's weird to say that Rob is a really heavy combo character. Like this man has pretty long, extended, strong combos for like no reason. Like he can actually like carry you across the stage with a combo that does like 60%. Obviously that side B is a really, really big deal in his kit. You know, he does like Nair into gyro throw into side B, and all of a sudden you're off stage at 45%, eating a side B, and you might just die. Yeah, you're dead, right? Ironically, the delay on some of his aerials, like his back air and his Nair, make it difficult to do things like parry or intercept it, or you might drop your shield early. He's got grab throw, so you always got to be worrying about that as well. Rob is just really good. Good projectiles as well, good recovery. In fact, actually, Rob has the best recovery in the game, distance-wise, and even mix-up-wise, because he can stall, he can go high, he can go low, he can do an aerial while recovering and then recover more. So Rob probably has the best recovery in the entire game, which is no small feat. And then he has these big moves and good projectiles and early kill potential. He has cheese, so Rob's just really good. That said, he can struggle to land once it is time to land because he doesn't really have landing options other than Nair, and if people are expecting that, they can punish that instead. So with Rob, you always just gotta be careful when you're playing as Rob because it can be very easy for you to get stuffed. He also lacks out of shield options that aren't up smash or forward air. So, also being a big target, you know, yada yada yada. You've all heard the same thing. Next is a character that I think is actually not as good as people think. Pokemon Trainer. Squirtle's really good. I always thought Squirtle was really good. In fact, I always thought that Squirtle was better than Ivysaur before Ivysaur even got nerfed. I've always said that character was the best Pokemon in the kit, and I'm finally glad that that's starting to become, you know, the common consensus. But Squirtle still has some crazy weaknesses. That being lack of range, and, you know, he can't kill, so he's got to rely on somebody else to do it. The problem with Pokemon Trainer, and this is what stops me from putting him any higher, is that you have to rely on a specific Pokemon within your lineup to do certain tasks, usually, right? Like you want to do damage, you go to Squirtle. You want to zone out, you switch to Ivysaur. You want to live, you go to Charizard. You want to get kills, you either go to Ivysaur or Charizard. But the problem is that these Pokemon are so linear. Usually, you know what Pokemon Trainer wants at any given moment. It's kind of the same problem that Wario has. Now, Pokemon Trainer is better in the fact that he just has more moves at his disposal, or her disposal, if you're playing female Pokemon Trainer. We don't discriminate here. It's 2019. But you know, even though Pokemon Trainer has more at their disposal, they're still a pretty linear character. So as long as you know what you're doing, you can make Pokemon Trainer's life a living nightmare. But obviously still amazing. Next is the superior Pokemon. Actually, no, there's one more Pokemon after this. But Greninja. Greninja is a combo fiend. His recovery is really good. His edge guarding can be really strong. His backer has deceptively high knockback. Good spacing aerial with that forward air. Dash attack and down tilt, super good moves. His Nair, amazing combo starter. He's got drag down on his up air, and that's really good because even though you can tech that, what happens next is totally up to the Greninja player's whim, right? Like if you're playing against a Greninja player and they do like Nair into drag down up air, if you miss the tech, they'll jab block you forward smash, or they might down tilt up smash, or they might just dash attack and do it again. But even if you tech, they'll jab, and then even if you tech in place, they can react to that and then just do it again. They'll just dash attack and up smash and then up air you and then start it all over again. If you tech away, he'll just dash attack you. If you tech in, he'll dash attack you, do another drag down up air, right? So it's really up to the Greninja player to mess up if he gets you in that loop of the drag down up air. And just in general, Greninja's combos do a lot of damage. His biggest problem, and what stops him from being one of the best characters in the game, is a lacking out of shield option. Very, very important that he doesn't have a good out of shield aerial or special move to use. If he had like a wolf up smash out of shield, perfect. That's all he would need. Then he'd be at least a little bit dangerous, but he doesn't have that. And that's a really big deal, because then Greninja players have to do a good job of being creative in terms of using their movement to get around certain aerials. You never want to lock yourself into shielding aerials or moves too much, because then you're putting yourself in a bad position. But besides that, amazing character. Next character. Y'all gonna hate me. Probably wondering why the hell I took so long to place. Hero is really good. Like, even without that menu, his neutral B and his side B are both such strong moves. He's got some decent aerials, some decent combos. You always got to be careful with randomly getting crit smash attacks. His crit smash attacks proc on shields, so if your shield's even a little bit low and he gets a crit F smash, he just breaks your shield. Crit F smash with Psych Up will break shield instantly, even from full HP. It's just, he's very strong in that he might just choose a random option and kill you instantly, right? But then you have to worry about that menu. And menu is a really, really big deal, because a good hero is going to make the best use of their menu. They're going to use the menu on their downtime. Every time they like knock you away with like a forward air, menu, scroll, menu, anything I need? No. Jump away, menu, anything I need? No. Space you out with side B, menu, anything I need? Okay. You know, they like with how many times they have to pull out their menu, even though it's RNG, heroes will eventually get everything that they want. They're up out of shield, although weak can be decent. It's frame 4 out of shield. Occasionally, you'll knock your opponent in the same way that you're drifting, so they'll just hit you out of it, but it's not the worst thing that could ever happen. It's still pretty decent. Bounce invalidates certain matchups. Accelerado, probably one of the best moves in the entire game. It turns into a complete monster. Difficult to control, and I think that as hero players use the character more, they'll get used to comboing with Accelerado, because some of his combo trees with Accelerado are crazy. But I really think that this character can be explored a lot more to do much more damage, to take better usage of the command menus, to make better usage of the special moves. The only issue is that I think Hero will eventually be banned. Not because he's too broken or he's too RNG based. The reason I think Hero will be banned, and actually should be banned, is because of the potential language barrier that some people may have. There might be somebody attending tournaments in your region who doesn't speak the language that well, so he might not know, or she might not know, what certain moves do, right? Or if you have players coming in internationally and they have to go up against a hero player, they don't know how to read that player's menu because it's in a different language, or they play hero and now they can't play hero in their native language, so they don't know what the moves are. You know what I mean? So I think for the language barrier issue, he should be banned, and for that reason, he should probably be over here. But if I'm ranking him, I think that if everyone spoke the same language and he was legal, I think that this is where the character's limits could be pushed the most. Next is Snake. Snake sucks. Left was right. We're moving on. How? It has already been an hour and a half. This is wild. Oh my god, this is such a long ass video. I actually recommend people to skip to the end because I just go on way too long. Okay, Snake. So, Snake is a character that just isn't that as good as people think that he is. People, like, let's say Snake recovers high, right? And then he's, like, falling down to the ground. Do you have any idea how many times I've seen people try and hit Snake while he's on the way down? And then just miss because he either like did the turnaround neutral B thing. What's that thing called? B reverse. Like, you know, anytimes I'll see people try and hit Snake on the way down off of a recovery with Cypher, and then like they'll miss because he B reverse grenade pulled, or because he air dodged at the very end. You know, like Snakes always wait until the very, like, if you're close to Snake while he's landing out of his Cypher, they will, like, 100 times out of 100. I almost said 100 times out of 10. 100 times out of 100. Air dodge at the very end to try and mix you up. But just wait. It's the same thing with the ledge. If Snake is going to the ledge, wait for the air dodge to the ledge. It's coming. Trust me. The air dodge out of the up B to the ledge is coming. Wait for it, right? It, like, in disadvantage, Snake has a lot of trouble. However, he's crazy. His Nikita is really strong. His options out of shield are really strong because he's got that down air, which is like frame 3, which I don't know why for some reason they thought that was okay to give him such a fast aerial. I think if Snake didn't have his dash attack, he'd be really bad. But the fact that he can at any point just choose to randomly close like half of Smashville's distance worth of space with like a random move to push you away, it's such a big deal. I think he did a tier list recently where he said like Snake is the ultimate zoner who has a zone breaking tool, and I think that's a really apt way of putting it. Frame 1, getting out of combos, so you always got to be careful with what you're doing. But I think that people are just not punishing Snake where he's at his most vulnerable, which is why people struggle in the matchups so much. But I think eventually people will push, you know, Snake further down the tier list. Next is Wolf. Wolf's crazy. Wolf has hard-hitting aerials and crazy combos. Even though he's linear, I feel like he's a little bit more obnoxious to deal with than Wario. And is slightly more consistent, because Wario, if he misses his waft, all of a sudden that's a huge thing that he's lacking, whereas Wolf will always be able to kill you at like 50 with a down smash or with a offstage back air. Or if you're trying, it's also difficult to try and intercept his recovery, because if you mess up, you die at 0. He's a good zone breaker. He's relatively fast. He's got good aerials out of shield. He's got good combos. He's good at sharking. He's at landing, but Nair is a pretty good landing tool, actually. So he's okay at landing. But I think for that linearity, he can have trouble mixing up his opponents when they know that what he wants to do. But Wolf is always going to be dangerous just based on how much damage he can do with just like 1 or 2 combos. And then, of course, his kill power is tremendous. Next is Olimar. Hashtag fix Olimar's shield. I don't know why they fixed Pichu's shield when they made him bigger, and then with Olimar they were just like, nah. Like, it's just such a weird thing to me. Like, is it an oversight or is it on purpose? Like, I don't understand. Like, how could they have missed that when they were writing the patch notes? Like, hang on, how come Olimar's shield didn't get bigger? It's just so weird to me that they did that. But he still does a crazy amount of damage. He's still one of the best zoners in the entire game. His recovery is still decent, although nerfed. He's really good at frustrating his opponents into doing stupid stuff. And every time I watch people fight against Olimar, they do stupid stuff, and I go, why are you doing stupid stuff? He just has a way of getting people to try and make up deficits in risky ways and then punishing them for it. And some of the best Olimar players in the world, that's what they excel in, is coercing people into doing something stupid to try and make up a deficit and then getting put even farther behind, and then they get even more desperate. So Olimar's still really good. Next is Pikachu. Even before Pikachu got even before Pichu got nerfed, I still thought Pikachu was better than Pichu, because like I said before, characters that live on an extreme, because like let's say someone has an extreme benefit and an extreme weakness, that extreme weakness still exists, and good players are going to target you for your weakness, not try and play against your strengths in a way, if that makes any sense. Whereas Pikachu doesn't have the same weaknesses that Pichu has. He doesn't kill as early as Pichu, but he's never been one to struggle with killing in the first place. I think that just the option to use Quick Attack to approach your opponent and mix them up is so big. Like, you don't have to worry about getting Quick Attacked when you're fighting Pichu. With Pikachu, you do. You have to worry about him randomly just up-being you and crossing you up and mixing you up and all that kind of stuff. So even for that alone, he's better than Pichu. But I think the overall consistency is more important. He actually has higher damaging combos than Pichu because he has the loop with the neutral air. His edge guarding is better. His recovery isn't really better. But his recovery is still one of the best in the entire game. Same zoning capability. He is a little bit heavier. So Pikachu, just overall really strong character, really hard to hit, really annoying, really obnoxious, but in all the right ways. Next, Peach and Daisy. I'm putting Daisy above Peach because I like Daisy more, so sue me. These characters are top tier because they have incredible damage output and impressive ledge pressure. They have a means of baiting you into thinking that you can punish them when they're floating in a certain space, and then they just float back and forth, and then fair you for trying to hit them, and then you just die. The nerf on her forward air did hit her hard. I have to say, I've seen so many situations where a forward air didn't kill somebody where it would have in a previous patch. But their damage output cannot be understated. They're very slow horizontally, but interestingly enough, with float canceling, if you jump and then float and then fast forward away, Peach can go up and down very quickly. So her ability to mix up her opponents by making them think that she's at a certain level and then she's not is pretty impressive. And then of course she has no shortage of spacing aerials with that back air. Out of shield, she's pretty decent with that back air and her neutral air. Up B as well can be decent for catching people jumping up high. She has a projectile, so she's good at edge guarding. Her recovery is pretty good. My issue with Peach, and why I don't think she's one of the best characters in the game in terms of like top 3, is because she's slow. Peach is a very slow character, and that's something that people don't take into account, is that she can struggle with a lot of really wacky matchups because horizontally she approaches like a snail. So she can get swatted out of the air really easily if she's trying to float over certain projectiles, and getting in can be a struggle for her as well. Like when I fight against Peach as Zelda, I use like stage 4 Phantom, which is like the vertical slash, and Peaches have such a hard time getting through that because they have to commit to a double jump to get over it, which for one is slow and they might get hit anyway, but then they are also like they're expending way more resources just to get through it, or they have to shield it, in which case I can just do it again. So things like that, projectiles in general and big aerials like Lucina's forward air, which I've gone over a few times, it really makes the character a lot harder to play because her horizontal mobility can be lacking. And also her burst options are pretty bad. Like she has side B and that's it. And side B used to be a lot scarier, but then they nerfed that and now her horizontal burst options are like dash attack. So, next, speaking of Lucina, I'm finally ready to place her. I'm placing Lucina, and I'm putting Marth next to her. Even though people think Marth is worse than Lucina, Marth is simply just more difficult to play, but he has a higher reward. We think that he's bad now, but I have faith. I have faith, belief without evidence, that Marth will eventually work his way up as long as there's somebody there to push him a little bit more in terms of learning which setups are best for getting tippers and all that kind of stuff. Because I think that it's difficult because doing precise spacing in this game is challenging, at least in this meta, because everyone's spending all their time dashing, so you can really only space within the dashes that you're always doing, right? But I think if people take their time, they walk or they move themselves slightly by just jumping and using their aerial mobility to put themselves in certain spots, I think that Marth can be a lot better. But I'm not here to talk about Marth. If you want to put Marth in B tier or unknown or D tier, do whatever you want. I'm just putting him here because he's a clone of Lucina. Lucina is crazy. I've already gone over why characters like Lucina can invalidate certain characters like Peach. You know, like forward air can be such a big problem for someone like Peach to get in on when she's trying to approach with float. Her out of shield options are fantastic with neutral air, back air, forward air, up B out of shield. Her recovery is really good because it's invincible and it has a humongous hitbox on it. Her edge guarding obviously really good. You just hit in the direction that your opponent is coming in at and you can kill them. Her kill options are like there's nothing like she's not left anything to be desired. Her kill options are amazing. Her combos are good. She has grab throw. She has a kill throw. I keep saying grab throw. I mean combo throw. Sorry. But like if you don't know why Lucina is amazing, just go and play against Lucina in bracket and you'll understand. She's a really good character. But now we're going into my top three. Top three. Number 3, Palutena. Palutena really good. She does suffer the same thing that characters like Wario and Pokemon Trainer suffer, which is she can be pretty linear. So if you know what Palutena is looking for, you can easily thwart it. But of all the tools at her disposal, she probably has the most dangerous linear moveset of all the linear moveset kits that I've talked about. Backer being so strong and so big, and you know, forward air into dash attack being a good combo. Her grab being so dangerous and also so big. Combo tool, kill throw. Even just putting people off stage. It should, like, her grab is so reliable in a game where grabs are so much harder to utilize. So grabs are just, you know, her grab is amazing. Then she has, of course, her spacing aerials, her zoning options, her neutral air, which, like, she can use her neutral air to cross people up, and if you drop shield even a little bit too late, if she gets that lacetive neutral air on you, you're going to eat like 50%. Like, look up any Palutena and watch them nair somebody and do 50. There's really no reason why I should explain anymore why Palutena is as good as she actually is. Also, her recovery is amazing. Her edge guarding is really fantastic. She has good ledge traps. Like, she can, like, as you're getting up off the ledge, she can back air in case it's a neutral get up, but if it ended up being a roll, she'll just grab you right after the back air and back throw you, right? So at the ledge, she's really powerful. She also has down throw fair. There's so many things that Palutena can do. Her jab is a kill move. She's so powerful and good, and that's really cool because I really like Palutena as a character. People think that she's boring, but I happen to find Palutena to be really cool both in her games and in Smash. So it's cool that she's a good character, at least for me. Next, Joker. I'm not putting him here because of MKLeo. When Joker came out and everyone was saying that he might be high tier, I played Joker for like a few hours and I was like, y'all tripping. Like, Joker is easily a top tier character, and people who don't see that are clearly on some tomfoolery. And I would have believed that Joker was this good whether or not MKLeo was piloting him. Now, he is difficult to play, but unlike Zelda, who, while being difficult to play, her reward for being good at her isn't as strong. Like mastering a character like Zelda, like she's because she's so difficult to play, you have to like dedicate so much time mastering her, but the amount of reward you get for that mastery is not nearly as high as something you get for Joker. I almost called him MKLeo. Like, Joker, once you get past the hurdle that is learning how to use Joker effectively and not just abusing Arsene, the advantage that can be gained off of that is truly, truly fantastic. Some problems that he has, against certain characters, forward air out of shield and back air out of shield can be difficult to land or just miss all around. He can be edge guarded pretty effectively as long as he gets his jump intercepted, then he's just screwed. So Joker always has to be really careful. You know, and then with Arsene, he just got to make sure that he doesn't die. You know, but he's amazing. He does a lot of damage. Even without Arsene around, he can be a really dangerous character. Someone who I always identify as living on the edge, you know, because sometimes I see Jokers going for edge guards, and it works out, and it's like, man, if you messed up just a little bit and got nicked, you would have died. So, so like, Joker's just really good. Like, you don't need me to tell you why he's amazing. And I always thought he was this good before MKLeo even started using him. So I'm glad that I'm vindicated in terms of MKLeo doing as well as he is, but that's not the reason why I put him here. And speaking of characters who I have no reason to put that high, Inkling, who I perceive, in my opinion, to be the best character in the game. Now, you might ask why. And the reason is because there's really nothing that Inklings lack. They have everything. They have good out of shield options, they have a good grab, they have combo throws, they have a kill throw, they have edge guarding, they have an amazing recovery, they have a spacing aerial, they have a projectile, they have an over-the-top unique mechanic that's unique to them, being Ink. So some people are like, ooh, Inklings can only kill when they get you to 140. But it's like, yeah, but Inkling also has some of the highest DPS in the entire game when they ink you. So it doesn't take that much for them to get you to that percentage. And also, in the same way that I said that disadvantage is something that can be played around the most when you're good at a character, having lacking kill options is also, I think, when you're like, the better the player is, the less that a character lacking a strong, reliable kill option is an issue, because the best player for that character is going to know that they lack kill options, and they're going to know how to play the character in such a way that they will be able to get that to happen. I think that lacking the obvious kill moves like Joker back air is not something that holds the character back nearly as much as something like Joker's recovery can hold him back in certain situations. But like I said, there's really nothing that holds Inkling back, except for some problem matchups. Inkling can struggle against the heavies, particularly Bowser, because you cannot jab Bowser with Inkling, and that's Inkling's most reliable way of putting ink on Bowser. So you have to get creative in terms of how you apply ink on your opponent when it comes to certain heavy armor characters and stuff like that. But beyond that, Inkling is just super, super good. Decent amount of disjoint, good combos, good throws, good grab, good recovery, good edge guarding, good out of shield options. What does Inkling lack besides a reliable kill option, which can be circumvented, by the way, with good play, and even Roller, which can be, as much as Roller can be difficult to land at a high level, if you get it, you're going to kill somebody at a decently good percent. So, Inkling really not that hard to kill with, especially if you edgeguard properly. And a lot of these characters can be edgeguarded with Inkling pretty well. So, in my view, even though we haven't seen an Inkling go that crazy, besides Cosmos, and even he hasn't played that much recently, I still think that Inkling is the best character in the game. Now, I've been rambling for like 2 hours. I'm not going to put timestamps for the characters in the description. You're going to have to... You're going to have to go find it yourself if you want to go back and read it. And if you were one of those people who skipped to the end of the video to just see the full tier list instead of watching the whole thing, welcome to the video. I'll play it. Alright, this is my tier list. Like I said, this tier list is not based upon results. It's based upon my opinion. That's just how it is. That's just how I roll. Because if you want a results-based tier list, go look at any other tier list. Like, Void has a pretty good results-based tier list. So, that's it. I think next time I'll do, like, an Astral Chain review, because I've been playing that game like crazy. Or maybe I'll do a Zelda matchup chart and explain why I think she excels or does bad in whatever matchups. I'll see. Anyway, have a nice day, guys. I'm tired.